Hi everyone, my name is Jennifer Cross and I am here for a feminine moment with Dixie Andelin Forsyth. And we are so excited to be talking about this topic today because this topic came from all the comments from the video that we posted about the lack of feminine women in our culture today, and many other cultures, in fact. So, yeah, everywhere. So the question came in, how can we inspire, influence, encourage our younger girls, teenagers, college-age women who are very against what they perceive femininity to be, which is weakness, and have been really kind of bought that lie that femininity is weakness. So let's
Well, first of all, what you just said is absolutely true. What they first would be great for them to do is to doubt what they've been taught. They have believed something that actually is not true, and it's so everywhere that they don't even realize they've been taught this.
Yeah.
By ads, by not so much by their parents, even although sometimes by their parents, but ads in our culture. They teach women that our gender, which is naturally feminine, that isn't, you got to fight that and do something that's a little more naturally male. We're not men. We don't make good men. And this weakness thing, women are on average physically smaller and not as strong as men. That's just a fact of life. But we have many things that make up for it. We don't have to all be the same to be valuable. We're not as physically strong in some ways, but yet the uterus, which is something that only belongs to women, is the strongest muscle in a human's body because it has to have the strength to push out a baby without any other added help. So we make up for it in other ways. Women have, in the new book, you learn about feminine power. Women have a unique kind of feminine power that if they understand it, it is some men describe it as magical, which of course it's not. It's based on science, but it is an actual influence, and they fail to grasp that because they're believing all this false information over here from the feminists that say that we're what is wrong with being physically smaller and weaker? What is wrong with that? Absolutely nothing.
Right.
We need men need us. That's the way it is. And not only that, I would say that all these young women, we all basically want the same thing. And that's what Fascinating Womanhood stands for, is we want for a good man to adore us and for us to adore him and have this lifelong love affair our entire lives. Isn't that what everybody wants?
Yes.
Okay, so you're not going to accomplish that. You're not going to do as good of a job at that if you're trying to emulate a guy. What does a guy want with one more guy? So they want, it's opposites that tend to attract. And
how can but how can we encourage our daughters, our young women around us to fight that, because and tap into what they know is true, which is they're women.
Well, you've got to learn about it. You can learn about a lot of it on this website. We do lots of videos on it. You've got to first question, is what I have been taught actually true? Instead of just accepting it as a fact, is it true? Because I'm telling you, it is not true. It's not true. I've lived my whole life with this other knowledge, and it's worked out way better for me than it has for most people I know.
Yeah.
So, encourage them. There's the option for femininity is right there. It's right there today, everywhere. I was just at the mall the other day. There's a lot of really cute feminine clothes now. There's some not so cute clothes too. You have this huge choice, but it's all there. It's all in front of you. You can choose that. You've got to learn about, unfortunately today, women need to learn about femininity. And sometimes I think, how did this happen that our own gender,
I don't know,
lost touch with what is feminine? Men haven't as much lost touch with masculinity, although some have, as we have lost touch with our femininity. Just like some young women today they're trying to, it's like this feminist movement is trying to teach men and women that masculinity is abusive, and femininity is weak. So if you don't have, if masculinity is not acceptable, femininity is not acceptable, in between is some kind of gender neutrality, which doesn't work for either one, because no one is gender neutral. You're either male or female, not some weird mix of both of them. And people might argue and say, well, there's exceptions, but we're not. There's so many human beings, so many possibilities in the world. We're not talking about the light chance of some rare disorder over here. We're talking about people as a whole. Because when you understand femininity and feminine power, and we're not talking about male power, we're talking about male power is the only one described in the dictionary. And I looked it up, and
that's so sad.
Yeah, it's there's many of you probably heard of that book by Niccolo Machiavelli.
Yep.
The Prince. He talks about, it's written in the 1500s. He talks about rising to power, gaining power, and keeping power. We watched a documentary on it, and it's all masculine power, but it's kind of a corrupt masculine power. It's not good masculine power. Some of it is okay, but it's based on overt control, manipulation, and those kinds of things, whereas feminine power is completely different principles, but it's very effective. It's very effective, and not in a manipulative way. It doesn't work that well. You know what? Masculine power doesn't work well in a manipulative way either, because it can't last. It never tends to last. You might feel like it's going to last, but it doesn't.
Actually, I just have to say, it doesn't last. And when I was doing research, because you had mentioned the Machiavellian theory, I was reading and watching about that, and actually he says it doesn't last. That is why there is always a new prince coming in.
Right. And we'll for example, for something that does last, take somebody like, well, I've used her before because everyone knows who this is, Mother Teresa. She's been dead for over 20 years. Her influence is still alive and well.
True.
Even though she is long gone. Her what is that she organized in India? I know, I'm going to give my ignorance away here. Her group, her order that she organized in India is still very much alive and active and working to help the poorest. And she started that without the idea of, I am going to become famous. In fact, she only, I read that when she was invited to come speak at the prayer breakfast in Washington, D.C. when Clinton was president, she only agreed to do that if they would let her promote her work that she was doing in India. She didn't care about any of that other stuff. She truly didn't.
Yeah, Mother Teresa, Princess Diana,
and there are others. There's a lot of others. I probably should do some more research on women who have had lasting influence. The thing is, the women who had the most lasting influence, believe it or not, are women who raise. Now, this isn't going to sound glamorous, but then life is very short. Women who do a fantastic job in the relationships with the people around them, their family, their friends. You go down in your family's history as, remember Mary, or remember this person. They were the most amazing person, and people want to emulate them. They want to be like them. That's much more of a compliment than so-and-so was a famous movie star, and then, 25 years later, people have no idea who that was.
That's true.
So,
wow. So I hope we answered the question, how can we inspire these young women? And that is just teaching them the truth. From what I heard, teaching them the truth. They have been given false information. And
letting them see it. We do a lot of videos. We're going to do more.
Yes.
And trying to tell them to at least, ask yourself the question, is this true? What I have commonly believed from I've been taught by my friends and society, is it actually true?
And is it true? Is it working? And we know it's not working because women have never been more unhappy. And
Well, I got to tell you,
yeah,
anyone out there watching this, uh, uh, a big publisher in Russia is publishing vintage in Russia. And I thought, what, how did they even find out about this? They said, I don't know, I still don't know how they found out about it, but they said that the young women in Russia are really tired of relationships not working and they want to go back to traditional values because they work.
well, same here in my coaching practice. All of the young women I'm working with and not working that I know say exactly the same thing, Dixie. So you are really onto something
You
amazing.
want something that actually works. Study about your own gender. You're never going to get any more accurate information than here.
Right.
Other stuff,
I would
but go ahead.
also add to that, um, is tap into what you know to be true in your heart. I just think that innately women know it's not working. They know it isn't.
Well, there's, you know, I saw a special not long ago on Princess Diana, and everybody knows who she is too. And the only way this documentary could describe or justify what she did, the power and influence she had, was they said that she deliberately set out to one up the palace by being the darling of the press and doing it like it was all totally a big plan. They could not wrap their head around her or get any idea the fact that she was actually the causes that she championed.
That's one of the lies that we're told, is that if you're feminine and your feminine influence attracts people, then you're arrogant, then you're being prideful, then you're stuck up, that it's manipulative.
You did it on purpose because you wanted fame and fortune for yourself.
Right. Oh, she's so stuck up.
They could not imagine what she did. I saw another one last night on Anne Boleyn, the second wife of Henry VIII.
Yeah.
And I read a biography on her, and it was radically different than this documentary. Now, she lived so long ago, I don't really know what the actual truth is about her, but it said she just wanted to be the Queen of England, and she wanted this, and she didn't sleep with him until he married her because she knew that she wouldn't become queen if she did. He would just end up rejecting her. And it was all manipulative. The book I read was completely different. It said she was a very religious girl, and that she saw a potential opportunity to help England.
Yeah. With the Protestant Reformation.
Yeah, that and at the end of her life, just before she was guillotined, she said, I have finished my work or something. I've done what I needed to do. And it had nothing to do with power, men's power.
No, she didn't use men's power.
The only way they could describe it is she manipulated the king, which is interesting because it made it look like she was more powerful than the king, and they didn't even realize they were saying it. Like, she wielded masculine power so good, he was besotted with her. They said she was skilled at the art of sexually arousing. It had nothing to do with charm or anything like that. It was just purely sex. And I'm sure that was a factor. But the King of England, he was an absolute monarch, she had him wrapped around her finger.
Yeah.
Now, that was not male power. Now, people can take female power and use it for the wrong purposes, and maybe she did. I don't know. It was if I did a lot of research on her, I'd know more about her. But when a person's been gone for 500 years, it's not really fair to put absolute judgments on them, and they're not.
Right.
The culture is different. They're not there to defend themselves. But But I only bring her up because there's feminine influences that some people will even say are more powerful than the King of England. And she was not born, she was not a princess. She was born in the aristocracy, but she was not, well, like Diana. Diana was a lady. She was not a commoner. Well, people thought she was. She was an aristocrat, but she didn't act like one. She was a kindergarten teacher, and
It's fascinating, and really more information we will be putting out about the topic of reclaiming your femininity,
Yeah, ask more
understanding feminine
questions.
energy.
Yeah, we'll be happy to answer them. There's the new
Yes.
book coming out has a whole chapter on feminine power, so
Yep.
that should help.
Before we go, I do want to show the current book. This is the revised and edited edition of Dixie's mother's book, Fascinating Womanhood. This is the vintage edition, revised and updated for the 21st century. This is the one that you can get on fascinatingwomanhood.com, and hopefully soon even a downloadable ebook. But for now, it's a beautiful.
It'll be available really soon, maybe even this week, the ebook.
Oh, excellent, excellent. And there is a companion workbook to get with this as well. And there are certain teachers offering online classes, but Dixie herself will be putting one out next year. So please like, comment, and share. Get the conversation started. We are all about femininity and masculinity and the pro-feminine movement. And we really appreciate your time today, Dixie. Thank you so much for answering our questions.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.